think it would be good. Yeah. Just thought that when I went through my slides. Yeah. It's if you free the report, yeah.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Space Coast TPO Governing Board, May 13th, 2026 at 1:31. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mayor Medina is in the house. Attendance?
Okay. Atkinson, Altman, Allender, Blake, Cole, Connors,
Here.
Feltner, Forrester, Goodson, Hammer.
Brown Martin.
I'll call the alternates in a moment. It's Hanley, Jaffe, LaRusso,
Present.
Medina.
Present, and Jaffe's on his list.
Okay. Morrison,
Here.
Osmer,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Young, and we do have one alternate in for Forrester, Martin.
Here.
Okay. And we do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Now on to public comment. I have Promise and Brevard.
You can come to the podium.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Keel, and I'm the president and CEO of Promise and Brevard. For those of you who don't know, Promise and Brevard is an affordable, independent housing community for individuals with disabilities in West Melbourne on the border of Palm Bay. And I've got some guests with me here today. I'd like to introduce Aaron Coleman and Tim Craven. They live at Promise. So it's community for people with disabilities. Sandy Coleman is a champion of our advocacy group. So what I'm here to discuss today is that we're a 9-acre housing community that is right up against I-95, and we have residential buildings, and I received a petition last year from our residents asking me to advocate on their behalf for some type of sound intervention because it is hard to sleep in those buildings with the noise from 95. I can personally attest to that because we have RAs in each building, and when an RA has been absent, I have slept in some of those apartments. So it is quite noisy, and so I understand their concern. And so I kicked off this process. They delivered a petition to me with 125 signatures asking me to advocate for them. And so I took that petition and wrote a letter to the FDOT last September, followed up on it, about our concern, and received a response from Heather Grubert. I don't know if she's here, but basically what I was told is that there is a evaluation of I-95 going on right now. They're in the middle of. However, she told me that sound intervention is only done in conjunction with road widening projects. So it didn't occur to me that there would likely be any type of I-95 widening in our area. So I'm really here to ask and she had no idea of what other sources of funding or ways that we could advocate for this. So I'm really mainly here to ask all of you if anybody has any advice on how to continue this process for advocating 125 adults with disabilities so that they could get some sound sleep at night, we would appreciate that. So I did not know where to go from here. I didn't know if there was any discretion over this group, but I'm happy to accept any type of feedback or advice on how we might continue to advocate on their behalf, and that's really why I'm here today.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, and just to give you an update, there is a I-95 widening project in the works. It's not going to happen next year or probably even the year after that, but between Palm Bay and Fisk Boulevard, the exploration process has begun. Chuck, can you provide any insight on I-95 widening or potential sound walls going in there?
I can't speak for any definite sound walls. I mean, that's all part of the study, but it is a statewide effort from the northern part of I-95 all the way down south to Miami to look at I-95 as far as widening projects are concerned. So probably be about a decade or two. So, but it'll be a long time. But during the widening process, that's when they do evaluate for sound, if the sound is going to get greater and justify noise abatement procedure.
Mayor Medina.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. President, is this on? Testing, 1, 2. Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I won't need a mic right now. But I will say that Promise of Brevard does an outstanding job within our community regarding folks with disabilities. And Promise of Brevard was also a partnership of the state of Florida. So I think what we could all concentrate on is, I know this, we're talking about a decade. That seems like an injustice for them to wait for any type of answer, but perhaps FDOT could look at on other resources that they may be able to pull from, whether it is hardening their own facility and going down that range, but certainly for us to say road widening and 10 years down range is to me, being on this board would be an injustice to these individuals that are there needing our assistance.
Thank you, Mayor Medina. Councilmember Hammer.
Almost across across I-95 from there, did they put sound deadening landscaping for the community there? If I believe so, that happened a little bit to the north of that, just past Minton Road on the east side of 95. I don't know if it was done by the community or by FDOT, but I believe they did a lot of sound deadening landscape.
In this particular area, I'm not quite sure, but that does happen, the landscaping projects. So, I mean, there's always, I can always bring it up and see if there is a little offshoot that can be done, something other than a wall or something as major as a big abatement, something to carry them through. I don't know. I can ask. I can definitely ask that. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor Young.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. As you may know, the lovely community of Promise happens to be in West Melbourne, and the city of West Melbourne did give them a support letter for FDOT, certainly to urge them to do whatever they can do to help the 125 individuals that are there, very deserving people. They work very, very hard. I had mentioned earlier when I was talking to Chuck over here, maybe some landscaping bamboo, if bamboo was to be planted in there, because that certainly is a very good sound barrier and it grows very fast, and it's certainly a lot less expensive than a wall, and it could be certainly done much quicker than a wall as well. And I believe that you were referring to the area by Lamplighter Village that has the sound wall there on the east side, right on I-95, but as we learned earlier in some of these other meetings when we talk about the sound walls, it's only good for one story, and also it's only good for a certain amount of limited feet on the other side of that wall, like 25 or 35 feet, which isn't going to work for them at all, but whereas a whole grove of bamboo, that might be far more effective. So just wanted to take that into consideration. Jeff, you had asked for suggestions. Not that I should have you out there planting bamboo, but it is a thought maybe FDOT could do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Seeing none, we're moving on to the Executive Director's Report. Georgiana?
All right. Welcome, members. The July-August Public Engagement Report is in your package. Also, we are celebrating Sarah Crom's 10th year anniversary. No worries. I have the remote, I tricked you. We are celebrating her 10th year work anniversary. So thank you. Yes. So thank you, Sarah, for 10 years of exceptional service, leadership, and dedication to building a safer, more resilient Space Coast. So she's not going anywhere, by the way. She's going to stay with us. Also, mark your calendars for Thursday, August the 6th from 8:30 to 10 for our National Stop on Red Week event. You have a flyer at your place. We're going to be hosting a high-visibility pop-up education event at the busy intersection of North Wickham Road and O'Galley Boulevard in Melbourne. So the goal is to raise awareness about the dangers of red light running and how one choice can save a life. So we'd love our local partners to attend or help amplify the message through social media. Thank you, Councilmember Marcus Smith, who will be representing the City of Melbourne and speaking on behalf of Melbourne at the event. Also at your seat, you have our brand new 25-26 annual report, Making Waves of Progress. So fitting a year's worth of major progress into one deliverable is no easy feat. So we're extremely proud of it. So please make sure that you dive in and review it. It has a highlight of the Ellis, kind of a pull-out of the Ellis Road project. So thanks to everyone for your dedication and the board members for allowing us to work on these major projects and some of the events and milestones for the Space Coast TPO. Also, I'd like to recognize Abby and our HDR team who developed this work product, and they did an exceptional job as always. So, Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for the Executive Director? Seeing none, on to committee reports.
All right. The TACCAC recommended approval of all the action items, and there is a summary of actions at your place. You also have the TACCAC meeting minutes from May and their attendance. The Bicycle Pedestrian and Trails Advisory Committee met on June 29th, and they recommended approval of the list of project priorities and received the Vision Zero Toolkit. And I think Councilmember Hammer was going to make a report on the executive committee as well.
Yes, I had a question to field if the board would like to have a discussion about it. Is once we get the new building, how our board felt about separating the technical and the citizens advisory board into two different meetings, so you can have these citizens have all the voice that they need without having the technical discussions in there, and the technical discussions can happen without the citizens there. How it goes right now, there's like 40 people in this room. So to have 40, to have like 40 different voices really doesn't get all the voices out. So I've been told by multiple people that it would probably be a lot easier, a lot more streamlined, a lot more information would be passed through if we basically did one meeting and then after that meeting's done, have the other meeting. Just like to see how people felt about it. Anybody else want to chime in?
Mr. Smith.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. All right. So Also, from our discussion this morning, we also found out that the makeup of the technical board of the city managers are different folks that are city positions, and then by breaking it up into the citizens, we felt that the discussion would be a little bit more worthwhile by having those two distinct boards. And I just recognized, like, when you see it in the title here, it says technical and citizens, but now we will have a technical advisory and then a citizens advisory, but with the timeline that Councilman Hammer just sort of projected. So,
Deputy Mayor Jeffy. Just keep talking, it'll come on.
we're gonna start a boy band group. Yeah.
So I guess my question would be, you know, the fact that we have public comment sections in these meetings and meetings are posted, is there a benefit to having a citizens advisory committee, or is that just?
It is a requirement by law, yes. By Florida statute, we have to have a technical and a citizens advisory committee. The Space Coast TPO is very unique that we have combined them for so many years. But what we are finding for the technical group to be separate, I think they can talk technical matters. We can convene our transportation subcommittee at the same time we hold a technical advisory committee to talk about priorities and other technical information. And then the citizens would have more time to talk about things that are important to them. Instead of trying to combine the two in a 46-member group in this room where they're all combined together, and the conversation can sometimes go off in lots of different directions.
So the technical board does consist of citizens of our community. Is there a way to just combine those members as both technical and citizens?
The technical group are not citizens. They are representative of the various municipalities.
Right.
So they're appointed by the individual cities in the county. So that is your city managers, your public works directors, your city planners. It's depending on, you know, who the city decides to appoint.
But both boards are appointed, right, Georgiana?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
That
but
is correct.
Just one is by position, too.
Mayor Medina.
So why was it combined?
It was done,
Initially.
you know, Laura has been with the TPO for over 30 years, and Laura thinks it's always been done that way. But most MPOs have two separate committees. And I got to say, it has worked well. You know, the two committees feed off each other at times. And then there are times it can be frustrating, quite frankly. And so we think that it would just be more beneficial to split the committees. We will, you know, we would be able to do that. The TAC could meet early in the morning, and the citizens, we could move to, say, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where there would be more opportunity for the citizens to actually participate that would like to participate, as opposed to first thing in the morning on a Monday morning.
And would staff communicate the information between both advisories?
It would be the exact same presentations, you know, just different discussions depending on the individual committees.
And the discussions were intermingled, so to speak, once that information is freely provided to each group?
Yes, yes.
Okay, then what would you need for that to be accomplished, Councilman Sammer? A suggestion.
We would, if the governing board supports it, staff will move forward and start working on that, and we can come back to you with updated policies or draft policies to just show what that looks like, and then we'd bring it back to you at a later meeting.
So would you need a motion to go down that range?
If you would give us a motion, yes,
Okay, so
for staff.
I think Councilman Hammer would make that motion, and I'll second it.
All right, so is that an official motion by you, Councilmember Hammer?
Yes, it's
All right, just wanted to clarify. I have a motion, I have a second, so I'm going to open it back up for discussion. Councilmember Hanley, I saw your hand go up for a second.
My only thing is, my question is, sometimes when we have the citizens, they don't understand necessarily the technology that we have to use or the stringence that we have to be in. I mean, how are we going to have the advisory, the citizen advisory board? Who is going to be the moderator, I guess I would like to say, on that situation? Because I can see where you have both problems, but I can see where you can say, we can't do that because the law says this, or the way the topography and things like that.
Well, I'm at the table, and of course, all of the TPO staff is, there throughout the meetings. We're there. TPO staff know the rules pretty well, and we will be there to kind of moderate, and also the chair will also be able to kind of control the meeting and structure it. So we will make sure that any presentations are given in layman's terms, but at the same time, make sure that everyone understands the rules. Because they are an advisory committee to the governing board, and it's very important. They are our citizens, so it is very important we hear what they have to say. But we think their voice, if anything, would be stronger if they are separated.
That was my only concern about that.
And I think just logistically looking at it, they should be separate. We should be getting, because they both are advisory boards to this board. So we should have our technicals giving us their opinion on the matter, and then we should have the citizens on another end and not have it merged into one voice sometimes. Sometimes we need to kind of have a balance on each side. So, Mr. Allender?
I was just going to comment based on what the Commissioner said, that obviously the staff will come back with a proposal outlining how each one will function, answering all the questions that the Commissioner had for the future operation, which is a great idea that they're separated. Really.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? All righty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hammer. And now we're on to our modal reports, air, space, and sea. Melbourne Airport. You're air, so you go first.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody had a happy and joyful 4th of July. From your airport, Melbourne Orlando International Airport, we've been quite busy over there. And what you've read in the papers about the soccer stadium, we know nothing about the soccer stadium. We just know about the land. And so FAA has released that for purchase by a corporation out of Mexico City. So, and they also have a couple of other developments here in Brevard County. So we're pretty solid with what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. Just for your own information, a little update on some of the FDOT monies that have been spent at the airport. We are in the midst of changing the HVAC MEP replacement project, Federal Aviation, in the amount of $3.5 million. FAA grant was 3.5, but we got a matching grant from DOT for $92,105. One other project that we got a matching grant from FDOT was for, again, I think that's the HVAC projects that terribly need to be replaced. Beyond that, we've just been busy pretty much getting ready for other transportation from Melbourne to both Las Vegas and to New York City, JFK, coming up in January of 2027, and we're pretty excited about that. And we're still working on Project Daisy, and that's pretty much a defense project. But beyond that, you see what you see when you go by. So please, fly Melbourne.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Did you say nonstop to JFK, sir?
I'm sorry?
Did you say nonstop to JFK?
Delta is going to offer a nonstop to JFK starting January of 2027, and Allegiant is going to offer a nonstop to Las Vegas starting January 2027. So that's probably the one you want to go to.
JFK.
What happens in New York stays in New York. All right. Thank you very much.
Yankee games, guys. Yankee games.
Space?
Better than the Giants. Hey, my name is Steve Zabo. I'm with Space Florida. Also represent, I'm vice chair on the Technical Advisor Committee and have been on the TAC for the past 12 years. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak to y'all today. First thing I want to say is happy new fiscal year to the state of Florida. We are now in fiscal year 27, so we're already late on some of our projects. But no, for those that drive out near the Space Center and the Cape Canaveral Spaceport, you can really see the skyline changing. There's new development at Launch Complex 37. I think you all know about the mishap, obviously, at Launch Complex 36. As these rockets get larger and taller, so are the infrastructure that's supporting them, whether that's launch pads, vertical integration facilities, et cetera. So a flurry of activity out there, and each of the gates, it seems like the traffic's getting a little bit more. But this is the type of growth that we wanted to bring back following the shuttle program. And we've got those jobs back plus more now. So just a couple updates. You may hear of a bridge out at the Kennedy Space Center called the Roy D. Bridges Bridge. It crosses the Banana River between Kennedy Space Center and the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. It is not wide enough to support rocket and transporter loads. So we are working with our partners at Kennedy Space Center, at the Space Force, as well as Department of Transportation to aggressively look for solutions on how to replace this 1960s era drawbridge and make it adaptable to transport large rockets across it, similar to a taxiway at an airport. And so we'll be working closely with our federal and state partners to come up with a solution this fall. This is, for us, very much a priority project. It is behind the gate, so it's treated a little bit differently. But we'll be reporting more on this in the future.
Mayor Medina.
Sir, it's my understanding Congressman Herodopoulos has really worked hard on gathering legislation, right, which recently has been successful, where it'll be public-private partnerships in that regard. Do you have any updates regarding that in regards to the infrastructure?
Unfortunately, I don't have any updates for today. As we work through a successful model on how to execute the project, how to pay for the project, that public-private partnerships has definitely been discussed. And we are also, with NASA, working with the US DOT on understanding better how they can support financially grants with P3s. So.
Thank you.
Does that conclude your report?
I just wanted to say one more thing. In addition to the bridge project, another project, this one we're closing out now, is a statewide wharf study. As you know, Port Canaveral is being used for intermodal transport of various rocket stages, flight hardware, etc., and of course the barges, the recovery vessels that Blue Origin and SpaceX use. A few years back, we did an assessment of Port Canaveral. They worked with our partners over there to come up with solutions on how to grow. And the solution proposed was to grow on the military side, on the Space Force side. And that led us to believe that we need to start looking for other ports as well. I'm a Brevard County citizen, absolutely love living here, but there will be a point where Port Canaveral and the military port adjacent will not have the capacity to support the spaceport operations. So this study is closing out now. We worked with DOT, looking at 11 ports around Florida. It looks like there's some promising lots in the Fort Pierce area. That's a lot longer for the space companies, but we do want to have resiliency available for the spaceports.
Does that conclude your report?
That concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I apologize. I interrupted in the middle of it, but yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that NASA kind of only gets money to do their missions, to put the rockets into orbit. And they weren't given any money to work on their roads, their bridges, their aging infrastructure. And some of that legislation that Mayor Medina alluded to is going to be great because it's actually going to allow for NASA to get donations by private companies, because the government can never accept donations before. So being able to allow these space companies to make their own investments, because quite frankly, they want to move a lot faster than the federal government, or just any government in reality. So I think it's going to be a very exciting time to see what they do out there. But very much appreciate your support. Mr. Allender.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to report on Canaveral Port Authority. Right now, we're working on 3 initiatives, along with many others. One is dedicated commercial fishing, working waterfront, consolidation, redevelopment of recreational marine assets, and long-range planning preparation for the southwest waterfront Blue Points Marina area for future cruise terminal number 4. The port has identified a $5.2 million investment for a new working waterfront facility with 125 feet dedicated bulkhead for commercial fishing. The commercial fishing facility is intended to preserve and formalize dedicated commercial fishing access while the port redevelops the southwest waterfront. The project will support on-port seafood processors, handling approximately 4 million pounds of fresh fish annually for shipment nationwide. The total cost investment by the port will be up to $5.2 million. That project is to be completed in early 2027. In addition, the board advanced the waterside scope project through Rush Marine and approved terms for the Blue Point Marina lease termination and management transition. The Port Authority on July 1st selected Moffett and Nichols, Inc. To provide the vision for the southwest waterfront redevelopment, which will include the marina redevelopment, roadways modification, access to Rodney Ketchum Park boat ramps, commercial fishing, working waterfront, and the development of a new cruise terminal 4. The port continues to move forward in trying to assure that we will support commercial fishing as well as other interesting business ventures for the port that are economically beneficial to all of Brevard County. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to the FDOT's report. Mr. Chuck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chuck Copperell with FDOT, MPO Liaison. On Tuesday, July 7th, the State Road 3 movable bridge rehabilitation project started. The improvements will include the rehab of all electrical and mechanical components of the double-leaf bascule bridge, and the milling and repaving of another section of I-95 from Indian River County line to Babcock Street is slated to begin on August 10th of this year. The resurfacing of State Road 518, Ugali Boulevard from Sarno Road to west of Apollo Boulevard received its final acceptance on June 5th, 2026. Oops. Don't go yet. All right. All right, turning our focus to readiness. June 1st kicked off the 2026 hurricane season, and I want to assure this board that the one FDOT team is locked and ready to serve. Emergency response has been etched into our DNA. We operate on a well-oiled machine because we don't wait for the storm season. We prep for it year-round. This proactive mindset is exactly what lets us jump into action fast and handle even the toughest impacts on our infrastructure.
We are thinking of the millions in the path of this hurricane, the Category 4 hurricane slamming into Florida's southwest coast this afternoon. Ian making landfall right near Fort Myers.
Less than 3 weeks after Hurricane Ian destroyed Florida's Sanibel Island Causeway, the bridge reopened yesterday.
What many thought would take 6 months The governor pushed us to do it faster, and we delivered. Ever since this storm, Milton, made landfall, the hurricane force winds, we can really start to feel it.
We are seeing ferocious gusts of wind.
We staged our assets, our bridge inspectors, our team members, our heavy equipment. We do plan to have all of our resources and heavy equipment and contractors staged north and south of the cone. We will be pushing in with full force to clear roads, inspect bridges, assess damage, and begin repairs as quickly as we possibly can. Every minute that a road or a bridge is down after a storm comes through can hinder the life safety mission.
As you can see, the nonstop preparations makes all the difference. It's how we protect our communities, clear our roads and transit networks fast, and get regional recovery moving. We've proven we can deliver over the last few years, and we're ready to do it again. And Mr. Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Chuck and FDOT? I know that video got everybody pumped up. I'm just glad he didn't bring up Hurricane Andrew. All right. On to consent items now. I got dad jokes. Come on. All right. Can anybody want to pull any consent items from the consent? All right. Can I have a motion to approve? All right. I have a motion by Mayor Blake. I have a second by Mayor Osmer. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Now we're on to item 5A. Georgina?
This will be a very quick presentation. If you remember at the May meeting, I presented the draft TIP and discussed the new projects that were added to the tentative DOT's work program and the TIP. Zoe, would you mind advancing? Perfect. You know, if you remember, we did not receive any new funding for our priority projects in the DOT's tentative work program. However, we did receive a lot of new resurfacing projects, traffic operations, airport projects, safety projects, et cetera. Next slide. Oh, nope, that's good. We held our annual open house on June the 9th. We had 40-plus residents that joined us in person, and we also received some TIP portal, comments in the TIP portal. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, and I'm just going to just very briefly touch on a few of those public comments. We received 10 comments on the need to widen State Road 528 due to congestion, commerce, tourism, evacuation, and several of the comments said, please keep it your top priority on, on the priority list. There was a comment on State Road 3, North Courtney Parkway at 528, a concern of safety and high crash concerns, and the citizen did not want any additional turn lanes added to the project, which of course would be a longer term project that would take place within the widening of 528, which is years down the road. A comment on North Courtney Parkway median modification. The proposed traffic signal should be shifted over to Via della Reina instead of Venetian Way. And of course, North Courtney Parkway is a high injury network roadway, and the funding for that median modification is Federal Highway Safety Improvement Program funding. So basically, the department showed 10 years worth of data to show that this corridor has a very high crash roadway and was able to get the federal funding for the project. But the DOT has been in contact with the citizen on both of these projects. And then the next slide.
You have the thing?
Yes, I do. Comment was appreciate Space Coast Area Transit and the importance for everyone to be able to get to where they need to. There's a need for wider sidewalks due to mobility aid and support for multimodal options. There was a comment on the Mitten Road intersection improvements. A suggestion was that we should be doing one intersection at a time to try and get those projects moving. If you remember, the TPO conducted the feasibility study and came up with a whole host of recommendations for those various intersections along the corridor from 192 all the way to Palm Bay Road. We do have the project on the priority list, but the individual intersections need to be pulled out and those need to be submitted to the TPO. And so that there's some coordination that needs to take place between West Melbourne and Brevard County, because that will be a LAP project because it's off the state highway system. So we have been coordinating with West Melbourne on that as well. Other comment, need for access to Vieira from Washingtonia Drive, and then continuous sidewalk on Kings Highway towards US 1, and that's in the county portion. So those comments have been forwarded to Brevard County. And so those were the comments. We have responded to the citizens and given them the information that they need. And we are asking for adoption of the fiscal year 27 through 31 Transportation Improvement Program. And we will forward it to all of the FDOT as well as Federal Highway Administration.
Commissioner Allender? All right, so I have a motion by Commissioner Allender to adopt Resolution 27-02 FY 27 through 31 Transportation Improvement Program. Is there a second? Second by Mayor Osber and Vice Mayor Cole. That was nice. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Oh, well, you guys told me to, All right, call the roll, please.
Okay. So I'm just going to call the names of those that are present. Allender?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes, present.
Cole?
Yes.
Connors?
Yes.
Hammer?
Yes.
Hanley? Yes. Jaffe?
Yes.
LaRusso?
Yes.
Medina?
Aye.
Morrison?
Yes.
Osmer?
Yes.
Smith? Stepped out. Young?
Yes.
And Martin?
Yes.
Okay. And
Motion carries, and we were just doing a pre-check to make sure the motion was going to pass first. All right. On to item 5B, list of project priorities.
All right, good afternoon, Sarah Crom, Senior Transportation Planner. So at your spot, you should have a large printout of our list of project priorities, because I do recognize that it is quite difficult to read on an 8.5 by 11, as well as also the 3 public comments and our responses that we received. Like Georgiana, I am going to go through this rather quickly, as we had a much larger presentation back in May. So as a friendly reminder, our list of project priorities is the mechanism that is used to take projects outside of our long-range transportation plan and into the transportation improvement program. So a project must be on this list in order to receive the Space Coast TPO's federal funding. Where we're at in this process is essentially we're asking for adoption. Then what happens, and this happens annually, is we submit it to FDOT. We work hand in hand with FDOT to develop the work program, which then will be presented in December, which is where you'd actually see what projects received money from the list of project priorities. The only change that we had from the time that we submitted in May until now is through some conversations with city staff, we have changed the regionally significant #1 project, Malabar Road, to be a 1A and a 1B in order to pull out specifically the intersection at St. John's Heritage Parkway. This is so that we can be strategic in helping the city advance a smaller project that would have a lot of impact to that area, and that the city is actively working on receiving potential appropriations as well as local funding to help support the project. So we would like to also be able to support the project. As Georgiana mentioned, our public comment period was May 20th through June 20th. We also held our annual open house on June 9th, and it was very well attended. And then as far as the public comments that we received, we had one that was a need to widen South Babcock Street, and so expressing concerns, especially following the recent fires, about the congestion. There was concerns regarding separation of bike lanes. Specifically, they would like to see the concrete barrier between bike lanes and vehicles. And then we received a rather lengthy email from a bicycle advocate that really was talking about wanting to see more bicycle facilities and specifically filling in the gaps of bike lanes. So as far as our development schedule, today is kind of our next step. And so then tomorrow, which I apologize, those dates were before we rescheduled this meeting. Oh, no, I did update them. Never mind. And so tomorrow, with your approval, I will be transmitting this to FDOT so we can begin the funding process. So with that, I'd like to request a motion to approve our fiscal year 2028 list of project priorities.
No, don't do it yet. No, don't do it yet. If you guys look at the last page of this big page, it is our list of projects that we support that we're not funding directly, but through grants and appropriations that, you know, we're supportive of. You know, you got COCO on there and a lot of other things, but after hearing the report by Space Florida regarding the Roy D. Bridges Bridge, which, by the way, is a terrible name for a bridge. No offense to Roy D. Bridges, but it's very confusing. I think we should add that to the list of projects we support. And again, this is not costing us any money, and we're not funding it. I just think if it is a major transportation project enabling space and commerce here, especially in the north end of the county, I think hopefully this board would be supportive of them going after USDOT dollars or whatever P3 opportunities they can, and us just be willing to say, yeah, we support this. So, Mr. Marcus?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, in light of the comments about the joint venture and the potential funding, how do you see that this impact this particular list, or even as we talk about adding projects?
So this list is not really ranked in any order of priority because they're all going after their different grant dollars at either the federal, state, or whatever level. So it's just another one that if, you know, Space Florida or NASA came to us and said, do you support this project? We could write a letter in support. That's really what it comes down to.
Chair, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, if they were to fill out an FHWA grant application, many times one of the questions that they're asked is it on the is it on your MPO's list of project priorities? Which right now we can't say yes.
So, Ms. Crum, what do you need to add this on the list?
I just need to have Stephen, you know, send me some more information. I actually think I already have it in my email because I have some reports already. So I just need to get back to the office and play with an Excel sheet.
So could we amend any future?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I apologize. I'm interrupting.
Do we amend whenever we place a motion to add this?
Correct. We can make a
project?
motion to add that as a part of the project priorities.
Okay. Did you just say that motion?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I was just asking it to be considered because Chair
just
doesn't make
amending
motions.
okay.
Yeah. Deputy Mayor?
What is the projected budget for that bridge?
It's still up in the air right now because it depends on if it has to be a huge bridge or shorter bridge. I mean, it's still kind of all over the place, but I know that they were working really hard to get some things in place with the federal government for their July 1st deadline. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so I think they're going to be going after it because, unfortunately, what we're seeing at the federal level is a lot of these funds are going to probably dry up after November. So whatever we can do to help kind of push things along and help support them and their efforts is something worthwhile. But did you have a better answer?
Mayor Connors, you did a great job. There's the Space Force is evaluating. It's not a typical bridge. It's much wider and can take heavier loads. So it's, to give you an example, the NASA Causeway East Bridge on Indian River, that was like $130 million all in. This is north of that number for sure. Plus it's 5 years later.
Yeah, so we ain't writing a check for that.
Right.
Are you ready for a motion?
Mayor Blake, did you have anything to add?
No.
Okay. All right.
I'll make the motion with the additive of bridges.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Vice Mayor Cole. I have a second by Mayor Medina. Any further discussion? All right, can you call the roll, please?
We are not required to do a roll call for.
You see how they change the rules on me like every single time?
Don't worry, it took me a long time to figure that part out too. It's okay.
All right, well, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. On to item 5C.
All right, last action item. Before Sarah presents the projects that we would like board approval for funding, I want to start out just by saying surface transportation block grant funding. These are funds that are apportioned to states by a federal formula. So the states then suballocate a portion of these funds to the local MPOs. And it's based on population. So the funds are boxed in the DOT work program until the MPO requests that they be programmed on one of our project priorities. We receive roughly $7.2 million a year in SU and $1.2 million a year in TA. Those are just fund codes, okay? SU is for, traditional roadway projects, and TA funding is more for non-motorized, bicycle and pedestrian related. So FDOT also receives federal funds as well, but today we're just talking about our funds, the funds that the governing board has some level of control over. Of course, FDOT has full oversight of the financial management of these funds and the programming of the funds. So they get to say yes or no if it follows their rules. So some of the things that we need to consider when we program or when we ask the department to program this funding is kind of what our policy is in the past, and that is finish what you started. The governing board quite a few years ago said, look, make sure that you try to program construction before you go programming a brand new PD&E study, because they want, funding, they want something in the ground. Maximize every federal, state, local, and private investment possible by partnering and leveraging. $7.2 million doesn't go very far for a transportation project, so it makes sense that we want to try to match it as best we can and leverage it. Projects off the state highway system, the department requires a scope, schedule, and cost estimate. So we can have the project on the priority list, but they're not going to program it until we get down into what are you doing, how much is it going to cost, and what is your proposed schedule. So these are all things that we have to work with them on, and it has to be vetted through DOT. LAP projects, if you're entering into a LAP contract, you got to deliver it deliver it within the time frame when the funds are allocated. So that's important as well. The recent FDOT development policy, which is down at the bottom there, which was recently signed by Secretary Perdue, they want to see projects programmed for construction within an 8-year window from the start of the PD&E phase, which quite frankly is almost impossible to do. They also want PD&Es completed within 18 months. And this this prevents projects from sitting idle with no activity, which they're seeing all the time. You're investing in these phases, and then they're just sitting on the shelf, and then they get old. Then you have to go back and redo these PD&Es or update the PD&Es, update the design. And so this does make a lot of sense as they try to move projects forward. And so this has never been more relevant than what I heard at the Floridians for Better Transportation Conference in June. The FHWA administrator, Sean McMaster, and Secretary Perdue both talked about the focus being we need to move projects quickly. The longer it takes to put projects in the ground, the more expensive they are, and they become more delayed. The safety upgrades are delayed, and economics is delayed. So they just want to see projects put in the ground sooner rather than later. So these aren't deal breakers, but these are just things that we need to consider. These are hoops that we have to jump through when you're dealing with federal money, because there's always strings attached if you're dealing with federal funds. So on the federal and state side, it really does influence what we do here on the local level. So just keep that in mind as Sarah goes through, are some of the recommendations and get your thoughts on the programming of some of these projects on our priority list.
Can I interject there for a second?
Yes, sir.
So just to kind of hopefully break it down a little easier in terms of some of these extra rules, we only have 18 months to do a PD&E, but you can't start right-away acquisition until you've done at least 60% of the PD&E, and yet construction needs to be done in 8 years from the start of this whole process. So you're looking with a very narrow time frame of the right things happening at the right times. So I think as we look through, and I'm looking at page 85, everybody, if you look there, because I think that's what you're going over next, right?
Correct, except for you do have an updated handout because I received estimate updates on Friday. So.
Okay, so mine's a little old, but that's okay. You know, if you look at it, we're kind of locked in with some of the monies that we've allocated over the next few years. But in 28, 29, 30, you know, some of our federal dollars are a little bit more, you know, there. We should probably be projecting things out of what PD&Es do you think we're going to have accomplished? What right-of-ways do we need to help maybe Palm Bay or Rockledge or whoever it is get it across the finish line so these projects just don't get stuck in limbo. So I think it's going to take a lot more ownership on us to make sure that we're planning effectively, you know, not just 5 years out, but almost 10 years out now.
And members, you have an 11:17 version of this that is updated, and you can see that a lot better than your little copy.
Yeah, I tried to make it as large as possible for you. Thank you, Chair and Georgiana, for the intro. So yes, thinking about all of these parameters that we have to work within, we kind of went ahead and took that extra step that was in that little flow chart that I showed you of starting to work hand in hand with FDOT for programming our work program. And we took a crack, and I know this is basically illegible being posted up there, which is why I gave you the handout. And so we took a crack at really trying to take the list of project priorities and applying it to the funds that we have available, as well as also following the parameters. And what we came up with got us 6 projects that would be constructed in the next 5 years, which is really advancing both our board direction of finish what we started, as well as FDOT and FHWA's direction of let's get these projects built and let's get them built now so our citizens can get the benefit. So the first 3 items are pretty much already, they're considered already programmed. The first 2 items are basically stagnant items that we use for 2 different methodologies. So one is, the first one's our Unified Planning Work Program, which if you remember from adopting that in May, that's essentially our budget. And so we were increasing our budget just a little bit. This is just to cover inflation of cost, and this basically just keeps it where we can accomplish what our staff is required to accomplish, such as our traffic count program, our state of the system and trends report, our core work products of maintaining our list of project priorities, TIP, LRTP, et cetera, as well as, in some fluffier years, we do have the ability to help with, additional studies, like currently Patty's working on the speeding and lighting, or grant support, like we've been working on the SS4A for Palm Bay. The next one is Brevard County ITS operational funds. We have been providing Brevard County with operational funds for a long time. However, they have requested to bump it up $100,000. And this really gets you the vital staff that ensures that the signals that are maintained by Brevard County continue to be maintained. They have to have staff in order to be out there and make sure that your traffic signals are working correctly, they're timed properly. It's a lot of bang for the buck for, when you think about moving people quickly through an intersection.
Sarah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I may, I just want to make sure the members understand. We give Brevard County $300,000 a year. And they're asking for another 100, and the 300,000 is for 3 staff members to run their ITS, their TISMO, and so they would like to hire another staff member. So that funding is coming from the TPO. So we just want to make sure you all understand that.
Thank you. So the next one, we discussed and this project at our last governing board meeting, which is the Malabar Road I-95 San Filippo construction. This is a really, once again, big bang for the buck. It's been approved by the Palm Bay City Council. TPO staff as well as Palm Bay staff have met with FDOT, thoroughly discussed it. It's a great project that, is I don't want to say low-hanging fruit, but it's an opportunity for $600,000 to really truly impact the safety and lives of the community. So the next I have an old version too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects are they are new construction that we haven't previously talked to you about. However, they are all included within our list of project priorities. So the first two are 2 State Road 405 projects, which, if you recall, FDOT completed a corridor study on State Road 405, really looking at the widening. That is a very far out project, and so we worked with FDOT to see if there were any kind of interim improvements that we could advance from that study to help with the operations and safety and congestion now, prior to even beginning to accomplish that PD&E, which we're not looking at for another probably 10, 15 years. And so they came back with 2 projects. First one is a part of a resurfacing project on State Road 405. So it would be including mid-blocks as well as also a speed feedback sign in order to help with the pedestrian safety in that area. FDOT will be using their own money to fill in sidewalk gaps. And so these were just kind of the last items that they were unable to fund. It's $545,000, and that will get us to construction. The next one is State Road 405 turn lanes. I believe it is 4 right turn lanes and 1 left turn lane. And you're looking at, they need a little bit of additional survey cost in fiscal year 27, and then extra construction in fiscal year 28. We are a little short on the construction of available funds. However, we're going to work with FDOT to try to get this done and figure out how we can fill in that little 230. I don't want to
Sarah,
say little, but
wasn't construction in 29?
correct. Sorry,
Okay.
I misread my own handwriting.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep. Construction's in 29. So then the next project is a long time coming. It is State Road 519 Fisk at Roy Wall intersection. That project is fully designed and it's just sitting there waiting to be constructed. Once again, it's a lot of bang for the buck of $2.8 million. Actually, the cost came down this year. It was 3.2, and so maybe we'll start to see that ripple across other projects. And so that project is definitely needed in that area and has been talked about since before my time. And then we have 2 projects down in Palm Bay. The first one is that Malabar at St. John Sarich Parkway roundabout that I previously mentioned in our list of project priorities. And so really getting that project advanced is the full widening project is over $160,000. Over $160 million. So, being able to bite off a small chunk of a project and really impacting this area that's heavily congested is incredible. And so this would be a partnership with the Space Coast TPO as well as Palm Bay. They are going to, I believe, didn't council approve the design project last week? Was it last week? And so it's already going to go under design. We want to fund it as soon as we possibly can, which regretfully is 28, 29. And then this would be a partnership where Palm Bay would also be funding with local funds. More and more what we're seeing is projects that are moving are ones where we're a funding partnership. We're working together with both parties committed, or even times with FDOT, 3 partners committed. Then next we have the San Filippo ITS project. This is going to enhance the fiber and signal connectivity along San Filippo. And this project is designed, it's sitting there, we just need to get it constructed. And so the updated estimates for this year did come in a little higher than we anticipated, but it's $3.2 million, and we're looking out in 2031. So I think that we tried to squeeze, the juice out as best as we could. As you can see in our outline 3 years, we do still have money. So this doesn't mean that this is all we're going to accomplish or all that, this board could possibly fund. But I think that these projects are based on readiness, and getting things to construction and getting things done is our best bet in moving forward.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any comments, questions, discussion? I know. Well, thank you. And hopefully you guys got what I was saying about planning out the right-of-way acquisition, right? Because, I mean, if you look in fiscal year 30 and 31, there is, respectively $4 and $5 million available. And how do we get the most bang for our buck and move projects forward? So, the more that the cities can do on their own to kind of get the PD&E moving, then hopefully the TPO can be there to help and move the ball across the finish line. So I think Palm Bay's done a great job of that, and Coco's also done a great job of that, of just kind of pushing that envelope. But with that being said, I got a motion by Mayor Blake, and I got a second by Councilmember Hammer. I know, right? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And now we're on to item 6A, Vision Zero Annual Report.
Good afternoon, Patty Rendon, Transportation Planner. I'll be giving a quick overview of the 2025 Vision Zero Annual Report before Fanny Christensen with Kittleson goes into more detail on the 2025 Signal 4 crash data. You'll find a full report at your place. This annual report supports the updated Vision Zero Action Plan, which was adopted in February of 2024, aligning with the FDOT's target of 0 fatalities and serious injuries by 2050. Highlights from 2025 include engaging with 32 community partners in high injury network areas, receiving multiple awards at the 2025 Florida Public Relations Association Golden Image Gala, one of the state's most prestigious award programs for public relations excellence. Outreach activities, including World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims to honor those killed and injured on our roadways. And a snapshot of the many digital safety campaigns that generated discussion on road safety education and awareness, including Back to School Safety, National Roundabouts Week, Crash Responder Safety Week, and Distracted Driving Awareness Month. The Space Coast TPO analyzed Brevard County fatal and serious injury crash data from 2018 to 2022 to understand where crashes occur and evaluate other crash characteristics. This analysis helped identify countermeasures and strategies for the updated action plan. Revising the crash data annually helps track the progress of that action plan and the advancement towards the goal of 0 deaths and serious injuries. To give a quick overview of the 2025 crash data, 93 people died and 419 were seriously injured. 2025 saw an average 4% increase in fatalities and serious injuries compared to the previous years. We also saw a 14% increase from last year in fatal and serious injuries involving vulnerable road users. I'll now turn it over to Fanny to go into more detail on the 2025 crash statistics.
All right, I'm Fanny Christensen with Kittleson and Associates. And like Patty mentioned, this all started when we did the Vision Zero Action Plan back in 2024. And that really laid the framework for looking at our crash data and identifying strategies to get closer to our goal of 0 fatalities and serious injuries. And every year we come back and provide you all with the annual update. So this being 2025, we see how we're progressing towards that goal of 0 and where we're seeing some benefits for what we've done in the previous year and what we can do moving forward. So when we did this last year and we looked at 2024, we saw a 12% decrease in fatal and serious injury crashes in the county, which is a very meaningful progress towards that goal of 0. Now in 2025, we are continuing to see encouraging signs. There was a 4% decrease in deaths, but there was a 6% increase in serious injuries. So that gives you that overall 4% increase in fatalities and serious injuries in 2025. So the Vision Zero Action Plan established a goal of 0 fatalities and serious injuries by 2050. And while we have made strides towards that goal, this data of 2025 are showing us there's still some work that needs to be done. But looking back to where all of this started, in December 2022, the Space Coast TPO celebrated that we had a county-wide adoption of the Vision Zero goal, together with Brevard County and Brevard County Public Schools and all of the municipalities. So we're very grateful to our Vision Zero partners and to the community that we have all agreed that this is a common goal, that we're going to make sure that everyone gets home safely at the end of the day. So although Vision Zero Action Plan is a county-wide plan, it is important to see where in Brevard County these fatal and serious injury crashes are occurring. So what you're seeing here is the 2025 data. Now, I understand that there are many factors that impact these numbers, such as population, traffic volumes, roadway miles, but it is important to see how these trends change over the years, so we know where to implement our strategies or our enforcement or our education campaigns. So the highest number of fatal and serious injury crashes continue to occur in unincorporated Brevard County, Palm Bay, Melbourne, Cocoa, and Titusville. But on a brighter side, several communities, including Palm Bay, Melbourne, Titusville, Indian Harbor Beach, and Malabar, saw a decrease in fatalities and serious injuries compared to last year. So this is showing that some of the partnerships we're doing and some of the campaigns we are putting on the ground are providing meaningful differences. So when we look at our vulnerable road users, so this is pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorcyclists, they are still seeing a disproportion in the impact of high severe crashes. So we know that these road users make out a small proportion of all our users on the road. We have a lot more vehicles compared to people biking and walking. And 40% of our fatal and serious injury crashes are occurring to our vulnerable road users. And like Patty mentioned, in 2025, it's a 14% increase compared to previous years. So these trends really help reinforce the fact that it's very important that we continue to invest in all road users. And when it comes to infrastructure, education, and policies, these are all things that we can look at to improve our roads and the safety for our communities. So why did these crashes occur? Fatal and serious injury crashes are dependent on many different factors: environmental, roadway factors, vehicles, and human behavior. And all that comes together, and what you see here is some of the top factors resulting in our fatal and serious injuries. 73% occurred at intersections, 59% are lane departure related, which a lot of think, someone departing the road and hitting a fixed object or overturning, but it's also someone leaving their designated lane, causing a sideswipe crash or similar. 53% involved aging road users. We know that there is an older community in Brevard County. This is for people aged 60 years or above. And 20% involved teen drivers. 35% involved aggressive and speeding-related driving behavior. This is where enforcement comes into play, or implementing speed management to make sure that the driver behavior matches what the roads are designed for. 27% involved lack of occupant protection, so no helmets, no seat belts, no correct light onto your biking. And 24% were distracted driving. So we know cell phone usage is getting more and more common. Now, I will also say this percentage is what's getting reported in the crash report, and there's probably a lot of people who do not admit to using their phone or being distracted when they are in their crash. So this percentage is most likely even higher than that 24%. So understanding these contributing factors really help us identify the most effective strategies and countermeasures. And we think about it across the 4 E's of safety: engineering, education, enforcement, and emergency response. All these come together to help us get closer to zero. And they all play a very critical role. And towards a goal that is ambitious to get down to zero, but a goal I believe we can work towards and we can accomplish as we continue working together as partner and as a community to get to the goal of zero fatalities and serious injuries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marcus?
Great report. My question has to do with a lot of these insurance companies are now doing that monitor driving kind of stuff. Do we have either access to that data, or is there partnerships that we can have with some of the more impactful insurance companies, I guess?
So that is definitely available data, telematic data, give you a lot of good insights into aggressive driving behavior or phone usage. Do not believe that is something we have as a county currently access to. But that is definitely, as big data continues to grow, a data source that can be very helpful as we look at these strategies of where they might be most effective to implement.
Councilmember?
Are any of these e-bike related? Like, what would those be under?
So there is currently an initiative up at a central office with FDOT to include e-bikes and e-scooters in the crash report process. Unfortunately, currently that is not being tracked in the data. It is something that would need to be written in the narrative of the crash report, but it is to the discretion of the person filling in the crash report. But that is being discussed up at central office and something that is being pushed by the PedBike Coalition specifically.
Yeah, because I don't see an e-bike running out in front of somebody listed on here, so yeah.
Or a golf cart.
Or a golf cart. Thank you.
Any other questions? See none? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It might be a good idea to get Google's analytics on this. Everybody using Google Maps or Apple Maps, because I can tell you what, when I had that little chip in my car for my insurance, I never drove so well in my entire life. And those couple of weeks I had that thing in there.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Once it comes out, you change your behavior back, right? So we're all people. Oh, I apologize.
No worries. Just one more component.
All right.
We just wanted to share our updated Vision Zero toolkit with you all today. As co-project leads, our community engagement coordinator, Leah Nepo, and I were committed to creating something that could be used and adopted by anyone who wants to support the goal of Vision Zero. We want to empower our local and collective communities of road users with all the knowledge at our disposal so we can turn these plans into actions and work towards the goal of safer roads together. Beginning with the history of Vision Zero, this at-a-glance handout provides context for the safety strategy and a timeline of important global and local milestones. By learning and building upon the experience and proven results set by a worldwide community, we can more clearly envision enacting reaching zero fatalities and serious injuries in our own backyard. The Vision Zero sample action plan and timeline is meant to demystify the process of how we turn those concepts into actions. This step-by-step roadmap outlines crucial stakeholder roles, what kind of data needs to be collected, and how to define, prioritize, and measure the progress of short-term goals for long-term wins. This ready-to-use resolution template was updated with the aim of empowering future partners to affirm their commitment to the strategies of Vision Zero. The resolution gives decision makers clear, defined language to sustain momentum for substantive policy. This provides clear direction for creating policy changes to make a lasting impact by implementing safety improvements in our communities. The resource guide is a curated list of organizations, tools, and websites to be used in supporting Vision Zero efforts. Connecting our community with vetted data and other critical information sources makes us stronger advocates for the changes necessary to save lives. Continuing with empowering our community with actionable knowledge, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Law and Statutes Cheat Sheet booklet makes it easier for any road user to know their rights and responsibilities when sharing the roadway. This quick reference guide is a more portable and accessible way to share current laws, helping everyone become more predictable road users. Next in our arsenal of educational materials, these updated countermeasure tip cards provide easy-to-digest information on proven safety countermeasures and explain how they help reduce fatal and serious injury crashes. All of these tip cards feature local locations of existing infrastructure throughout Brevard County, including examples in Cocoa, Melbourne, Satellite Beach, Vieira, and West Melbourne. By giving people the context and benefits of safety countermeasures they may be unfamiliar with, we can clear up misinformation and turn cynics into advocates. Working hand in hand with the tip cards, the bicycle and pedestrian facility checklist can be used by anyone to observe local corridors and identify areas that could benefit from safety countermeasures. By examining the existing corridor infrastructure and data sources like the high injury network, those utilizing the checklist can form a clearer picture of what the specific needs of that corridor are and what may need to be improved. This toolkit was unveiled at our Vision Zero Summit in April of this year. The event included workshop activities and presentations by Florida Highway Patrol, Health First, the City of Cape Canaveral, and on behalf of FDOT on a range of topics that all work towards creating safer roads in our community. With these efforts, we hope to create a ripple effect that by sharing perspectives across different disciplines and jurisdictions, making changes in our driving behaviors, educating ourselves and our neighbors on the importance of proven safety countermeasures, and by creating and utilizing toolkits like this, we can save lives and build a more robust culture of safety in our region. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. On behalf of this board, I just want to thank the TPO staff for all the work they do getting this meeting ready for us. FDOT, thank you for being here. Space Florida, Melbourne International Airport, Port Authority, always very happy to hear what's going on out there. So this concludes our meeting. Does anybody have any discussion that is worthwhile? Nope. All right, seeing none. The next meeting is September 10th, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned.
Mayor Connors, I'll be right back.
Okay.